Hello beautiful one, Luanne Marine here from luannemarine.com and the handanalysis.academy.com. So I wanted to share today this video about how you can share your purpose, the roles we have, and why showing up, it really needs courage, and how we can show up in our purpose according to our design. And what prompted that, there's a couple of things here. What prompted that was yesterday I did a hand analysis reading for somebody. And so for those who don't know about hand analysis, scientific hand analysis, so I'm a master hand analyst, and part of my work is really helping people get clarity around their purpose. So I use this modality called hand analysis. It's a scientific method. It's not a form of palmistry. It is not a intuitive reading. It's based on the data that it shows up different markings. Your fingerprints never change, and I decode that for them. And another thing that actually came up for me today is right now what's happening in the world, and based on the conspiracy theorists, I call them conspiracy therapy, what's happening with people fighting for different beliefs, and just because I believe something, that makes me wrong, or just all the judgmental things that are going on. So this may go down a different path, but the first thing I wanted to say, okay, so I'll start off with, I was watching mainstream television this morning, which I really try not to do, but it comes up. So I'm in Australia, in Melbourne, and I think it was Channel 9, and it was the Today Show, and it popped up. The headline was something about conspiracy theorists, and they played the show reel, and it was about the moon, showing people who'd obviously recorded things, and the moon was a hoax, that they never really went to the moon, NASA, or in the 60s or 70s. It was a hoax. Or they show that people who believe that the earth is flat, it's not round. And it was just like, and like these are I will tell you what my beliefs are, or even that word belief, it's actually about a knowing, right? If I believe something and you believe something, that's fine, but a belief, we can change beliefs, but if you have a deeper knowing, like on a visceral body knowing, in your soul, energetically, they're slightly different. So, it kind of sparked my attention, because I was like, oh, here we go. And the first thing that came up was they had the two hosts. They had this person from New York who was a psychologist, and he actually started to talk about naming. It's almost like what do you call it? Like he was labeling the conspiracy theorist. He was saying that they are this type, they have this behavior type in them. It's a genetic behavior type, people who are conspiracy theorists. So, and he named it. I'm not even going to say the name, but now he created this label, and the hosts are going, well, why are they like this? And it's like, wow, they have this genetic thing, and it's almost like, to me it was like, oh my gosh, they are labeling, it's like a type of bipolar even, Anyway, so there was no other person to give the other part of the story, as journalists should be doing, show two sides and then give it to the public to make their own mind up. But no. So the first thing that came up about this was that it's on mainstream media. And so I'm thinking straight up, well, if it's on mainstream media, then they must feel it's very threatening that these conspiracy theorist people out there are actually making some headway. And they've already labeled people a conspiracy theorist, so that already puts a derogatory spin to people who think differently, or are critical thinkers. Like, they'll see something and they'll just ask different questions instead of going along with the mainstream, or being bullied into a different thought pattern by the masses. who don't want to see that. And that's totally fine. There's no judgment on people who don't believe what you believe in both forms. So I was watching this and I was just sitting there going, wow. I didn't feel anger, but there was a push, there was a like, okay, if I want to be a critical thinker, I'm just going to watch this. And then I just got it halfway through because it was going nowhere. It was basically ridiculing people who thought a different way. And the one thing that came up, the positive of this was, well, I was thinking, well, if this is in mainstream media and they're trying to debunk all these theories, and especially what's going on with the world, right, with all the V and the C word and all those kinds of things, and people are like waking up, which is another kind of truth word, we're waking up, or the woke people, so they turn that around, the woke ones, people are just coming out of slumber that we've been so numbed out. We've been taught so many things that possibly aren't all truth. A lot of it can be truth, but then there's something in there that's like, well, that doesn't feel right. Anyway, so I got up halfway through and I just went, wow, that is so fascinating. Because if it's on mainstream media, it means there's something positive is actually happening out there. Because if the mainstream media doesn't want us to be critical thinkers or to believe certain things or to go and do our own research, then why would they want to ridicule us? And that's basically pretty much what it was, this ridicule of people who think differently, or have a different knowing and don't follow mainstream. So that was probably a positive that came from it, probably for those people who have a knowing, or we call them truth seekers, to see that on TV and go, they need that. They're scrambling here, right? They're scrambling, and to not get triggered by it. So I just found that fascinating. And it was on, like, what's today? It's a Wednesday. I think it was on about 11:30. Who knows who are watching it? Anyway, so I just thought that, and that brought me back to thinking about purpose and all the different roles that people play according to what's in their fingerprints. Now, the fingerprints show your life school, your life lesson, and your life purpose. And because I had a reading yesterday, I did a hand analysis yesterday. We were talking about, well, how can she implement this in her life? And to me, it was like, we all have different designs. We all have a life purpose design that we've come here on the planet to experience, to express. And we all have different gifts as well. And then so from my point of view, I was seeing, I follow a lot of different people, half the time to stay sane and what's going on out there, and what's happening in 2020, like the year that a lot of us wish we didn't go through, but in some way it's been fabulous, really. We've had to slow down, we've had to connect with family members, for the lucky ones in the Western world, working from home, which I do anyway, and just not having to rush around. So yes, there were certain rights that were taken away, there were certain challenges, mask wearing, all those kinds of things. But really, when I take a step back, it's like, wow. And it let people in that moment go, well, I don't want my life to be like this anymore, right? What we've put up with. And I did put another video up a while ago of, what have you been putting up with? Anyway, so you can have a look at that. It's on my YouTube channel. And so coming back to the different designs and our purpose. Now, each finger is a different purpose. We have the master of success, which is the doer. We have the leader, the visionary leader. We have the business person. We have the creative artist. We have the messenger. We have the healer. We have the innovator. We have the mentor, or the growth catalyst. And we have the advocate. And we have the community person. So I'm thinking all of these different roles that we can step into, and roles or purpose, and how then we have gift markings there. So it may sound confusing, but it's actually not. So we in hand analysis, I give you a 3-page report, everything that's in there, and then it's up to you to then go and find practices, or there's some things I definitely support you with, and how do I express those. So coming back to all this truth community out there, and there's different people that I follow, and I just love them, and I take my hat off to them. I really do. I look at them and I'm like, wow, that takes courage. And you can just see there's an energy about them, that they have a knowing. They have a knowing, and they're not kind of scared to show up in that way. And they're the advocates. To me, when I'm using hand analysis speak, they are kind of like the advocates. And the advocate makes a stand for the underdog, and brings things to the surface and gets on their soapbox. And so we have the advocates. We need the advocates. And if it's in your hands, maybe you're the advocate, right? So we have the advocates. Then we have the kind of like the empaths, and that can be quite a loaded word as well. You know, the empaths, the sensitive beings, and the healers. And what I see the role of the empaths is that they are here to hold the space, right? So they don't need to be the advocates, because other people, it's their design to be the advocate. But if you're an empath, you are here, and that's a gift marking, and that is actually to help people go through, deep transition. The world is going through huge deep transition now, absolutely. So we need these empaths to help us pave that way, to come out of those really dark, sad moments that a lot of people are in. And so it's their purpose to support that however they want to, it's energetically supporting that, so people can transition, come out of that sadness. So we have and these are just some examples, the advocates out there, doing their thing, showing up for the underdog. We have the empaths. Then you have the trailblazers as well. So they're blazing this trail, which a lot of the advocates are trailblazers. A lot of people have come to the forefront this year who were behind the scenes last year. And if you're in the spiritual world, there's a lot of people that we normally watch, and they've kind of gone to the side where there's this new energy, these new people. The time is right. And this is the thing with trailblazers. So timing can be a bit of a challenge sometimes, because they're coming up with new ideas, new concepts, and sometimes they're just, they innovated a concept that's already been around. So these people, I see them as trailblazers coming through, and they are, the path hasn't been walked where they are going. So the advocacy comes through, they're blazing a trail, there's huge courage needed there, and they're showing up. So that's another one. And then we have, the a gift marking hand analysis is the lines of genius, where they are the decoders, right? They are the decoders. So the world's going through this massive upheaval now, and so these people can bring these big messages and bring them into really understandable language that other people can digest. There's so much out there, and they can put it in language in ways that we can go, oh, I get that. It comes into through our ears, and we listen, and then it comes into our body, and we know we're like, that makes sense to me now. Whereas before, I was so confused, I did not understand. So we have those people, and sharing their messages through their books or their speaking. And then we can have, I've made notes here, then we can have the person in the community, right? So we have people whose purpose is to create community and to support that community, and to bring in others. And it's like, where's my tribe? Where are my tribe? And I think this is, we call it the truther community, or the spiritual community, or the conspiracy theorist community. But the people with the purpose is to rally these people in, make them feel home, because there's a lot of people out there who are like, definitely when you start to question things, and you're not too sure where to look, that there are communities out there. So put your signpost up. And another one, yeah, is you can be the leader or the influencer as well. So the influencer is actually two together. The influencer is the powerful leader who has the vision, who protects the realm, expands the realm, brings people on board to support the vision. And then the influencing part is from the purpose of the creative artist or creative expression in the spotlight. And so that means that they are there to be seen. They are there to create things for people to see and for them to be appreciated through that. They can be quite charismatic, creative, like definitely right brain. And, you know, when you have the powerful leader with the creative expression, that is the influencer. And so I don't mean it's like the influencer, like the Instagram influencers. It can be like that for sure. But when I think of life purpose, it's a different kind of influencing. Yeah, so I wanted to come through and to share all these different kind of designs, life purpose design, and you know what the importance of that. And, you know, just coming back to, I'm going to kind of end this video very soon, but I was also thinking about, you know, the beliefs and the knowings, and how people can get really stuck on. One of my teachers used to say, you know, fighting for their limitations, and that's a judgment in itself, right? It's you know, it's kind of the truth. I do believe that. So people will fight because they don't want to be wrong, or they're scared, right? There's a lot of fear out there about, you know, if I don't go into the store with a mask on, what's going to happen? Or I'm going to be looked at the wrong way. And coming back to the creative artist, that is kind of the shadow or the student path of the creative artist, because they don't want to be criticized. So they'll just not come out. They won't shine. They won't do videos like this, you know, because, oh my goodness, the worst thing that they could feel on the student path is being criticized, rejected, ridiculed. And I think that's where the mainstream media can come into that, right? They ridicule conspiracy theorists. You know, and so a lot of creative people in that right side, that's a real trigger for them. So then they won't. They'll just say, oh, okay, I'm just going to, somebody else can be the advocate. Somebody else can be the influencer. I don't want to have anything to do with it, but I'll follow, you know, and that doesn't kind of feel really cool. So the critical thinking piece, or the belief, and something did drop in, it was, well, remember years and years ago, probably in our grandparents' era, or maybe their parents, when left-handed children, people who are born left-handed, right, it's a genetic thing, they come in and they went to school and they were not allowed to do their natural way of writing. They were actually, remember the rule, I'm just trying to look on my desk, the rule that they would get their hands, you know, slapped. So they had to learn how to do right-hand writing when they were actually, their design was to be left-handed. And so, you know, we think now in these times of, my God, did that really happen? And we have a memory that doesn't remember these things, right? I think our memory lasts like 10 days. And, you know, when we were all locked up here in Victoria, it was like, oh, that was the worst thing. And now we're out, it's like, oh, everything's fine. It's still not completely fine. There's still things happening. But I think of, you know, my goodness, I mean, I'm left-handed. I'm actually left-handed. So I would have been one of those kids that had, you know, it's wrong. Or that, I think in some parts of the world, it was like the devil. The devil was in you if you were a left-handed. Now, come on, right? Really? So I know we've grown since then, but it's almost like that with this conspiracy theories. It's like, oh, you're just a lefty, like you're a left-hander, you know, let's slap that out of you until you move and comply with the right hand, you know, the right-handed people. Yeah, so I'm just thinking, wow, you got to be so careful, right? We don't go down that road. And just to stay strong, like it really takes courage to step 1 into your purpose, 2 into your knowing, and saying your truth and feeling your truth, and admitting, wow, you know, they haven't really been telling us the truth. the whole time, right? And there are people who don't want to know, and that's totally fine. It is not our job to go and, well, not my job, or not everyone's job, to go, wake up, this is BS, like, don't you see, and all that. People will just come to it of their own nature. You know, timing is an illusion. Well, I believe it is. And so they will come to it when they want to come to it, if they want to come to it. And they don't, that's their choice, right? We've come in with free will here. We don't want to be, we don't need to be told, you know, oh, you're left, you need to go right, da da da. To me, if everyone just got on their purpose, first you got to know your purpose, if everyone knew their purpose, and then everything out, and then went to that purpose, because to be on purpose is to be in joy, to do the thing that you love, it raises your vibration, spreads out to other people. Happy days. That's a simplistic view perhaps, but that is my thoughts anyway. And then we have to go, you know, once you know your purposes, is working through that confidence to really just own all of yourself, which comes back, as I finish this up, running with people, running with the trailblazers that you resonate with, staying in the tribe that really supports you. So that is my video today. You know, how you can share your purpose, you know, the roles that we have, and why sharing and showing up, it does take courage. And I'm sending all my love and blessings to you as we go through this time. Just taking a deep breath, coming back into the body, and, you know, slow down sometimes. You know, this mind, I know for me, my mind just goes like, oh, there's so much to know and so much to learn. And during the day, it'll be just, okay, 5 minutes out on the grass, big belly breaths, come in. You know, we're not getting out of here alive, right? You might as well live the life with joy and on purpose. So you can check me out on my blogs, luannemarine.com, or the handanalysis.academy.com. If you are interested in getting your life purpose decoded, there's lots of information over there, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Okay, bye for now.